Okay, here we are at Charlie's in Mayfair. I'm going to do something really special for you today. This has been around on the menu here for the last 6 years. I love this. This is salmon en croûte. We do this on a Friday on our trolley that's served in the room. It's quite a technical piece of work, but actually, if you follow the steps and the processes and you get all your prep done in advance, this is a beautiful dish. This is salmon en croûte. So first thing we need to do, we've got a really stonkingly big fish there. This salmon, we just need to first of all take off all these fins before we fillet it. Just makes it easier to fillet. Take all those off. You can get the fishmonger to do this first for you. I don't just mean the fins, I mean fillet the whole thing. And I'd get him to pin bone it as well if I were you, because it's a lot easier. But lift off all of those fins first. Take the head off at an angle, both sides like that. Head comes off. Makes a nice soup, that. Also take the tail off as well. All the way along the top of that bone. Not too much of the knife inside either. Just use enough of the knife you can keep complete control of it over the backbone and back down the other side, nice and easy. Straight through, and then we hit the rib cage there. You hear it just click through the rib cage. There you go. Lift that off. Try and keep it nice and straight. Lifting off the other side. I'm just going to go underneath the towel like that, up towel bone, trying to create that sort of ridge on the other side. That's why we do it this way round rather than just run the knife straight down the back. It just gives you a nicer finish. You can hear the knife cutting through those bones like that. That comes off. Then what we need to do is just take off that belly. You want to be able to see the knife through here, removing the belly like that. Then straight down, one long cut, not loads of cuts. One nice seamless cut all the way through to dorsal fin at the back. Turn it around the other way, same the other way. Let's take that off, and then we can just keep the knife at that angle. See that angle? Really protruding outwards so that we're not losing too much of that flesh. That's it, like that. So this dish has been on the menu every Friday here since I've been here, which is over 6 years now, and incredibly popular. What a great thing to eat on a Friday lunchtime with a lovely beurre blanc. Nice salmon en croûte. So you've got that puff pastry, you've got the quail eggs through the middle, adding that piece of luxury in there as well. We use a scallop mousse too. There's a little bit of seaweed powder just to up the kind of saline feeling to that dish too. Try and keep the salmon nice and pink when we cook it. It's quite a trick to get the pastry cooked, the salmon pink, and the quail eggs nice and runny in the middle. What a nice challenge as a chef. What a great task that is. Square that off. All of this trim, I'll show you, but we're going to trim all that down, keep all that, and turn that into a mousse, so nothing goes to waste. So when you've got these lovely pin bones here, just run the knife against it. You'll hear this, Sam. That's it, and then we can just get in there with the fish pliers and just pull them out. You want to make sure when you're pulling these out, you're going tail to head. So tail that way, head that way, and we're just running the knife straight down. This is a really good quality fish, actually, I have to say. All the way down like that. It's normally 12 to 15. I don't know. I never count. But all the way through like that. Right. What we do need to do then, after we've done that, is take off the skin. This is what we do. There we go. Bones away. Very quickly going to just pin bone the other one. You can join me when I've done both of them, and I'll show you how to skin it. Now we've pin boned that, we're going to take the skin off this. Very simple. If you come in close here, Sam. So I'm basically cutting all the way down to the skin, shimmying it along. I'm moving the knife there, and now I'm going to start moving the fish. Look at this. And what we do, we're going to end up trying to take away some of the fat as well. but basically move the fish, not the knife. That's the trick here. All right, all the way down like that, and then we can just lift that skin out. All right, that goes away. Fish sits there. Same with the other side. Again, try and keep that fish flat all the time, straight through the tail to the skin, along, grab hold of it really tightly, and then just move the fish, not the knife. Stay focused. You want the fat off as well. You need to come up slightly so you're not just lifting off, but you want a lot of that brown fat off as well. That's really important. You see that there? Right. Lose that. No use for that. Right. What's going to happen now is we need to even this out. So this piece of towel is coming off, as is this one. They get used for scallop, salmon mousse or whatever we're going to move them for. So no waste is there. Fish cakes, they make all sorts of great stuff. What we're going to do now, this is quite interesting. We're going to cut a groove down the middle. Quite an aggressive groove, but it will all make sense. Stay with me. We cut straight through there. You need a relatively sharp knife to do this. So we leave ourselves a little bit of a level in the middle, like that. Take that out. Again, that's going into mousse, fish cakes, whatever. So we've got a nice groove there. This will make sense in a minute. Pretty happy with that. That's going into our steamer tray. So that's a steamer tray because of all these lovely perforated holes here. Allows the steam to come up through and steam our fish. Again, the other side, take the tail off there. Nice big groove on the other side as well. This will all become clear. Take that out. Now, normally you would have taken this and make all that into a wonderful mousse, salmon mousse. But I've tried, we can use that elsewhere in the business and for fish cakes and stuff. So I'm actually going to elevate that and use a scallop mousse rather than a salmon mousse because I just prefer it. It's nicer, sweeter. So that's just my preference. But you could turn that into a lovely salmon mousse. Right, this gets seasoned with a little bit of salt. It gets dusted with a little bit of seaweed powder like this. It's going to just up that saline. Just keep it nice and seasoned all the way through. And it just, I think it just, when you're eating it, it gives you those different layers and different flavors and textures. It's also like adding salt as well, so it's really helpful. That's going to get steamed for 5 minutes, nowhere near cooked. It's like sealing a piece of meat on the outside, but you're sealing it in a steamer. The reason for that is to stop the bleed out and to just get those edges and the outside of that fish sealed nicely. So into a steamer, 80 degrees, not 400 because it's not going to tense the fish. 80 degrees, 5 minutes, out into a blast chiller or into a cold fridge. Off it goes. Okay. I didn't just hand that on the floor, by the way. There was someone there called Mike who's looking after me, covering up all my impurities. So there we go. Okay, so the filling of this salmon en croûte, this is the luxury bit. This is the bit that I think is really important and takes a bit of skill. Basically, some cling film out on the tray like that. That's the back of the knife, by the way, not the front of the knife, on the metal. Over the tray like that. So we've now got something in which we can form so scallop mousse is 700 scallops, 500 milliliters of cream, 1 egg, 28 grams of salt. That wants to be the length of the salmon, so all the way down like that. That gets blended together really nicely. Then what we've got here are soft-boiled quail's eggs. These are cooked for 2 minutes, 22 seconds. So they're nice and soft and squidgy and soft in the middle. Then they get peeled, and then they get placed into here. What's important is that they are placed facing each other. You can top and, if you want to do this really, really smart, you top and tail the quail eggs and push them together. I'm not a big fan. I think it's, well, I don't want to do that. So we're not going to do that. Push them in like that. That needs to be the length of the salmon, by the way. And that kind of should give you a clue as to where the grooves in the salmon are and how that works. So that goes through the center like that. Lovely. Push those down all the way to the bottom. Don't worry about it coming out like that. There's a way of getting around that. And then we're going to take this mousse again over the top, like so. And then going to roll over tuck it in really nicely. We're creating sort of a ballantine really, or a roll of scallop mousse. Could be your salmon mousse if you wanted to use that. If I was at home doing this, I wouldn't do it with scallop mousse. I just do it here because we're in a 5-star luxury hotel and that's the kind of thing we want to do here. So nice roll of that lovely scallop mousse. Just tie that off at both ends. And then I'm going to steam that as well at 80 degrees and I'm going to chill it down. And that's going to form the center of our salmon en croûte. But we need to cook this beforehand. So what we're trying to do, steam that 80 degrees, set it really nicely, chill it, and then we can lay that into the salmon. Okay, so let's talk about salmon en croûte. There's another version of this which is called salmon courbiac. So very classically that would be with a rice filling as well. This is not the rice filling. I'm not a big fan of the rice filling. I think, look, I'm all for leaning into tradition, to escoffier, to classics, to all the great stuff. There's sometimes I look at things and think that needs modernising, that belongs in today, and sometimes I think it doesn't. That's just my preference. You know, you'll have your own view on things, but I think salmon courbiac is not something that really feels right today. It's kind of double carbohydrate, it's an extra layer, you don't get that clean finish that people want now, so that's my choice in there. The other way to do that is to do a turbot and a salmon as well. So steam the turbot, put the mousse in the center or not, and then put salmon on top. So a salmon and a turbot en croûte. That's a beautiful thing. But ultimately, this is very similar to a beef Wellington. You take a luxury ingredient, you're encasing that in beautiful puff pastry that goes super crispy on the outside, and then you're baking it, slicing it, and serving it. This is a showpiece. These dishes are absolutely celebratory, which is why they belong right here in Charlie's in Brown's Hotel. So the next stage for our little construction piece is this, which is all butter puff pastry. That's critical. Actually, a little bit of flour on my board just for safety. That's my safety net there. Very important that you use all butter puff pastry. It's just not going to give you the result you want if you don't use the good puff pastry. And you can buy it, and you'll be completely disappointed with a lot of the puff pastry that are available in the supermarkets. They're just not great. They're not butter actually. I know that because my daughter's dairy free and she can still get a lot of the puff pastry from the supermarkets, which I find quite astonishing. But there we go. Okay, on to that goes crepes. I've not stood here and make crepes for you, but essentially eggs, flour, milk, chopped chives, a little bit of salt and pepper, and that gives us our lovely savoury crepe. That's going to go on there. Plenty of those on there. We're not looking for colour on those, by the way. Nice blonde, chill them down. We make these in stacks and we can freeze them. They freeze really well. You can do that too. What's that on there for? That one's a bit thick. Mike, that's too thick. So these are on there so that when we cook our salmon, there's a bleed out. There's going to be some moisture come out of that. And that's going to stop the moisture getting into the pastry and keep this thing nice and crisp so the pastry keeps crisp. Also adds another layer, another texture. Like I said, it's another carbohydrate. So if I was to put rice in there as well with a courbiac, wow, we're into triple carbs. Not really for me. So that's a filling dish. That should be fine to have just one more. Nice crack on the end there. Beautiful. Right. We can keep those for another day. We'll freeze those down and keep those another time. Salmon, please, sir. Right, onto that goes our salmon. And now that salmon, like I said, is completely raw. It's just been sealed very quickly in the steamer. That salmon is completely raw still. You see that? All right, so that's important. We've just sealed it. It looks cooked from the outside, but it's not. So just to recap, we've got our puff pastry on the bottom, our all butter puff pastry, lovely savoury crepe. Our salmon that's been steamed is one way up. We've got a lovely gap down the middle. That green is a seaweed powder. We've then made this little ballantine of scallop mousse and quail eggs, which we're going to open now and then pop in the centre. I love the way you all gone quiet on me because you just don't believe me. No one believes it's going to happen. No. You need to believe. They need to believe. Just believe. There we go. So in goes the ballantine, away goes the cling film, and that's encasing all of our lovely quail eggs, don't forget. Okay, so what's going to happen now is this piece of salmon is going to end up on top. I don't know how this is going to happen, but there you go. So that goes over the top like that. Stay with me, it's going to happen. Okay, now all we need to do is use our crepes to fold up and basically encompass the whole thing. Use our crepes to fold up and basically encase everything with the crepes. Nice and gently. I'm making a big parcel like that. That's it. And then all we need to do is come up with the puff pastry, and this is going to be our base, don't forget. This is the bottom layer of the whole thing. So it's going to get flipped over, so this will be our base. And it all feels a bit gnarly. And if I'm honest, I'd kind of have someone with a second pair of hands normally helping me, but that's okay. We got this. Okay, over it goes. The whole thing going to get rolled over, like so. Tip it over. And now we're going to tuck it in, like so. You could, if you wanted to make that a bit easier, that process, you could just have a piece of cling film on the board and just roll it over. I wouldn't do that I just did. It's a little bit gnarly, but there you go. Right, just shape that now. And we need to finish this and get it oven ready. So I'm going to trim off the pastry at both ends. Excess there, we don't really want that. Tuck it under. Just going to work it and try and tighten that up a little bit. Make sure the salmon's kind of in the middle. Doesn't matter if it's not perfect, but it's all in there. The flavours are in there how I want them. And that's lovely. Right, I've got some egg wash here, which is a mixture of egg yolk and double cream. And it's the egg yolk that's going to give us that glaze, and the cream just gives it that richness and the shine. You know when you see puff pastry that's been enriched and shiny and crispy, that's coming from the double cream. So I use a little bit of double cream in there as well. That goes in all the way down, and we're just going to finish those edges in a second, don't worry. Are you worried, Sam? No? Okay. You look worried. Big salmon sausage roll, really? Is it not? It is really, isn't it? Big salmon sausage roll, that's all it is. Okay, now we have here, this is a lattice. So it's a sheet of puff pastry that's been rolled with what's called a lattice cutter. About so big, has grooves in the wheels. We run it over, and that gives us those little slats in the middle. Can you see that? We don't need the whole thing here, so we're just going to cut what we need, which is probably about that. Remember, egg wash underneath first. On goes the lattice over the top. This is what gives us that lovely finish at the end. Over it goes, and then any excess we can just trim off. Pull it down, and always tuck. Gives a really lovely finish. Gives you nice crispy bits, ultimately. Now I'd want to be resting that in the fridge for at least a day before I cooked it. I really want that pastry to set. I want it all to set up really nicely. The seasoned salmon, don't forget, so the seasoned salmon is going to set up a little bit in there as well. Mike, you got a little bit of pick time? Nice egg wash, and then I'll chill that in the fridge for a day, and then I'll egg wash it, and that'll be ready for tomorrow morning, and we'll cook that for the trolley. And I'll make sure I bring you guys along for a video of how we carve that, we cook it, and we serve it. So rest overnight. To cook this beautiful salmon en croûte, you need a really hot oven. I need the oven at 220. I need a tray in the oven already. The oven must have come to temperature. I'm going to take this and I'm going to slide it onto a tray in the oven that's already there. I'm not just going to put that in the oven. The reason for that is because the tray isn't hot already. We need to cook the base of that pastry really quickly. So it goes in at 220. I have a probe inside. It cooks to 39 degrees, comes out rests for 10 minutes, goes out to the room, carve, serve. And at that point, you're going to get super nice cuisson on the salmon, soft eggs, crisp puff pastry, happy guests. This here is a little bit of, it's a little bit of pick time. Like I say, give it another little egg wash when it comes out the fridge and it's ready to go, and you should be fine and dandy. There you go, there's our crispy puff pastry, our salmon en croûte. We serve this every Friday at Charlie's in Mayfair, and I just think it's a lovely thing. There's a trolley every day, and I just think for Friday, this is the perfect fish dish for Fish Friday. Quail eggs in the middle, the lovely salmon, served with beurre blanc, fantastic Jersey raw potatoes. What better for Friday lunch? I hope you give it a go. It's technical, it's difficult, but you know what? It delivers in spades. Give it a go.